Today, I'm dressed like Bane from Batman, and like the savage that he is, I'm going to be telling you guys what the worst fragrances are in each brand. You merely adopted the cheap quality colognes. I was born in it, molded by them. You love fresh fragrances. I want to present to you something that I feel takes the best of both worlds of fragrances like Acqua di Gio and Paco Rabanne's Invictus. Summery, fresh, bubblegum and aquatics, and adds its own twist, with the prominent notes here being watermelon, citruses, woods and amber. With 25 5-star reviews, Hugh Tennant says, I always get compliments when I wear it. Tim Fenton says, this fragrance is so refreshing up top and can be an everyday wear easily. Highly recommend trying. Great people running the company as well. The initial spray smells fresh, clean and light. The dry down has a nice scent that works well with my body chemistry. Smells amazing, love how it lasts and it just works well for me. I plan on sending my brother a bottle. And that fragrance is Mmasi Into Me for Him, which is sponsoring today's video. Let's try this fragrance out. One spray on the hand. That is a really nice opening. Oh my god, this fragrance is nice. It is like a niche version of those two vibes I said before, Acqua di Gio and the Invictus bubblegummy vibe put together, made smoother and more interesting. I get 6 to 8 hours. I can easily see this as being someone's fresh, light, citrusy signature. I always love giving you guys an option to trial these fragrances before committing to a full bottle. You can buy a 10 ml of Mmasi Into Me. However, if you look on the website, the owner actually introduced that offer just for this video. So you guys have the option and it's already sold out. So I'm going to contact him and hopefully before this video is uploaded, he'll have more in stock. The presentation is fantastic, the scent is fantastic, and versatility is fantastic. The owner is a really great guy. This is a black owned company, which is important for some people. And he also sends me Into Me for Her. This is marketed as a women's fragrance, but I easily think this could be unisex. It is a dark patchouli fragrance that reminds me of the similar vibe to Aaron Terence Hugh's Maverick or Black Orchid by Tom Ford. The main notes here are going to be coffee, patchouli, almond and vanilla. Gorgeous, dark, sweet fragrance. Again, you can get a 10 ml sample of this if you need more convincing that a man can wear this. And remember guys, these samples have been introduced specifically for this video, so make sure to check out this brand yourself. I will leave a link in the description down below. It is almost impossible for a mainstream fragrance brand to release scents that are always heavy hitters. Sometimes a brand will miss. However, sometimes they pretty much get it perfect as well. So this video hopefully like a very superficial overview of 10 different brands where I tell you what I think, in my opinion, are the brand's best fragrances as well as the worst. Not every single best fragrance here performs amazingly, but sometimes the scent is so spectacular. Have you guys ever had a fragrance that just smells so good you do not care how many hours it lasts for? Even if you're reapplying every 18 minutes, you don't have any problem with that because it just smells so good. So let's get into this list. Numero uno, Chanel. Great brand, elegant, high quality, consistent. Their best fragrance for me is Allure Homme Edition Blanche. I think easily could have been in their private line. It is a designer fragrance that smells niche. By the way, we're not doing private line for this video. We're just going to stay to their designer stuff, their regular stuff. So Edition Blanche is, you know, a fragrance I used to watch reviews about back in the day. It was seen as this creamy lemon meringue pie fragrance, which kind of it is, yeah, I understand, but it is something you have to experience to really appreciate. It is the smoothest, creamiest, most elegant, expensive smelling citrus fragrance you will get in the designer market. And I get 6 hours with this fragrance, which is not bad at all. It's expensive, but easily worth it. The worst Chanel at the moment, I would say, is something that is getting a little bit outdated in my opinion. That would be Pour Monsieur, the Eau de Toilette, which is sort of like Chanel's answer for Dior's Eau Sauvage. It has that old school barbershop vibe to it. It's got these citruses, lavender, I think petitgrain, like these really gentlemanly vibes to it. It's got reformulated. Apparently it doesn't smell anywhere as good as it used to. For me, I got 4 hours performance, and for a Chanel fragrance, you want something that smells a bit more modern and will perform better. I think it's a little bit underwhelming. I think it's more of a relic than something that stands the test of time. Yves Saint Laurent, easily the best is Bleu, Electrique, La Nuit de l'Homme. It takes that La Nuit de l'Homme DNA that I always wanted to try after Jeremy hyped it up. I swear there was a video where he poured it on his head directly, which was crazy. But ever since that video, I was like, okay, I really wish I could have tried that fragrance when it was vintage. He had the vintage stuff, the good stuff. Bleu Electrique pretty much revives it to its former glory, and I think a lot of countries still can get it fairly easily. So do get it if you can. It is just a perfect sexy fragrance. It's just beautifully balanced. It's like a date night fragrance, but it can be worn as a signature. If you want just a pure sex appeal, if you're the kind of guy who just wants to get as many girls as possible, Bleu Electrique will be your best friend. Worst fragrance from the brand, in my opinion, would be Kouros. Not the original, the stinky, disgusting stuff that I love, but actually Kouros Silver. I tried this fragrance once. I gave it, I think, what, 2 sprays. Have a proper go with it from a shop tester. So bear that in mind. I've had limited wearings of it, and I just was not interested in trying it ever again. It has nothing to do with Kouros. I don't know why they share the same name. It's not animalic and disgusting and stinky. It's just very mainstream, generic bubblegum. It sort of smells like they wanted to get on the hype of Paco Rabanne's Invictus /1 million bubblegum, but they don't do it particularly well. They do worse than those fragrances, and it just puts a downer on the Kouros name. Kouros is meant to be the king, the animalic jungle, old school masculine fragrance, and it just doesn't do the name justice. So yeah, I was really disappointed by it. It has okay, the performance is fine. I'm sure it will get the job done, but I think it's directly competing with too many fragrances of a similar nature. Thomas Fordigan. Again, I'm going to avoid the private line for this video. The best is Noir Extreme. Perfect perfumery. It takes a perfect balance of creativity with a kulfi note, florals, sweetness, super sexy. One of the best day night fragrances in the designer game, bar none. I think every man should try it. When I tried this, I was just blown away. It stands out to you so easily. Worst fragrance from Thomas Fordigan would have to be Costa Azzura, which used to be private line in fairness. I do not like it. Mainly because I just don't understand it. Maybe that's it, but I've given it a good few tries, and I just don't like the driftwood note. It's got a really weird woodiness to it, and it's got a really weird like sunscreen effect to it as well. If you guys have tried it, maybe you'll understand how I feel. It was just very screechy. It's just a really awkward fragrance. I just don't think it was blended well. Maybe I'm just being, not open-minded enough. Maybe I need to try it a few more times, but a few times I tried it, I just did not want to go back to it. It's really annoyed me. I also didn't like metallic. So this could be a tie between metallic. Metallic was also just a really awkward fragrance, really awkward lavender. So I don't know, guys. Have you guys tried Costa Azzura? Let me know what your thoughts on it are. Mr. Chris Dior. I would say the best is going to be Fahrenheit. I was tempted to go for Dior Homme Parfum for the best, for the perfumery. However, Fahrenheit, I think the perfumery is fantastic, but it has much better wearability. It is a really sexy, petrol-smelling signature that both a leather jacket-wearing bad boy and a mature CEO can wear. And it's impressive that it was made in the 80s, but it's still timeless. For me, it still smells easily modern, making it a truly impressive creation from the brand. And then we get to the worst stuff. Fast forward to 2020, and they released a new Dior Homme, which I thought was an absolute horror. It was weird because I personally thought it smelled like they were trying to recreate Bleu de Chanel. They saw the success from Sauvage, so they were like, okay, let's steal Bleu de Chanel's glory as well. I felt like it was an unfinished creation that had way too much ISO-E super. It felt very screechy, annoying, overly synthetic, not blended as well as Dior usually blend their stuff. A big disappointment for myself and many others, and I do not think it should have been the same name as the Dior Homme line. I think they should have created a new line at that point. Giorgio Armani. I think the best for me is still Armani Code Absolu. Mainly because the Acqua di Gio line, I feel their best flanker, which was Essenza, has been discontinued. I'm not as impressed by that line as I used to be, but Code Absolu is still impressive. Like I think it came out a good few years ago now, and it is your sexy cold weather signature. You want the maturity, elegance, and performance that Armani is known for. It's all ingrained into one creation here. 12 hours, loud projector. You could wear this to the office. It's a clean leather vanilla fragrance, which is unique, linear, simple, but don't go more than 2 sprays if you're wearing it to the office. Their worst fragrance, in my opinion, would be from the same line, Armani Code Colonia. Again, I gave it 1 full wearing in a shop test from the tester in that store, and I felt like it's a fine fragrance, but it's disappointing. I tried the original Code, it used to be my signature, I loved it. I tried the Code Profumo, amazing beast mode Code Absolu. Even the new Code Eau de Parfum is great. Pretty much every other Code fragrance is fantastic, but this one here, I don't understand. Again, like similar to Dior Homme, it was just trying to be something else. It was trying to go away from creativity and just trying to appease the masses. They took a blue fragrance DNA. It's very generic, forgettable, citruses, some spices in there, green sharpness, and a lot of tonka bean. Very overly done tonka bean mainstream stuff. Really forgettable and really, you know, brought, again, a great name, the Code line, it brought it down a notch. What do you guys think? Am I being unfair to Code Colonia? Viktor and Rolf. Easily the best is Spicebomb Extreme. The best loud Christmas in a bottle grenade that'll fill up a room with 2 sprays. Get it, thank me later. The worst one is going to be Spicebomb Night Vision, the Eau de Toilette. What an absolute horror of a fragrance. It had a nice opening, it had like this weird spicy fruitiness going on there. It's the kind of fragrance I felt like they put no effort into, which was really disappointing. Really bad dry down. It sort of felt like they wanted to just trick you with a nice opening to get you to buy it in a department store, which is just super lame from the brand. Their only fragrances I think nowadays Viktor and Rolf have are the Spicebomb fragrances. So they really need to make sure that name is, you know, not brought down. The Eau de Parfum of Night Vision I felt brought it back a bit and it redeemed it, and I think Infrared did great also, but that Eau de Toilette is a shocker. Like, do not go for that in my opinion. Parfums De Marly, the beast mode oriental spicy house. That's their strength in my opinion, and I would say their best is Carlisle. It is sort of like Leighton is the tutorial, beginner's tutorial for the brand. Carlisle takes it up a notch. Dark, intense, mature, complex apple pie is how I would describe it. It's got a richness to it that makes it just smell so niche. Like it really puts niche perfumery on the map. It's got insane performance, at least 14 hours. In fairness, a lot of Parfums De Marly fragrances have been reformulated, so try them out nowadays, guys. Maybe they don't perform as well. But yeah, from what I tried, from my batch, Carlisle is insane. Like special occasion, cold weather, you're gonna turn heads. The worst fragrance from them, I wanted to actually say Galloway, because it's a sort of white floral musky fragrance that, again, I tried once, so I'm biased, but I just thought it was underwhelming. I didn't really want to try it again. But there's something worse than being underwhelmed, and that's being actually actively repulsed. That is why I'm putting Parfums De Marly's Pegasus as their worst fragrance. I know a lot of you guys love this fragrance. I'm gonna get a lot of hate. I'm getting ready for it. I really do not like this fragrance. I think it has an interesting concept. It's a very intense, metallic, sweet almond fragrance. So it's a unique fragrance. I like that they went creative. But I think the sweetness, the vanilla, which is just too intense, it actually annoyed me. Like Callan is a challenging fragrance from them, but this is not just challenging Pegasus. I don't think it's particularly challenging. I just think they went overboard with the sweetness here in this fragrance. And I find for myself, as well as my friends as well, whenever I tried it with them, when they put it on their own skin, that it actually became annoying the longer you wore it. It's a beast mode fragrance over 12 hours, and it just smelled like it was like a milky metallic almond that's just too sweet. So for me, it has to be their worst fragrance. Finally, Montblanc, the legendary budget brand these days. Best fragrance from them, which you can still get even though it's discontinued, is Individuel. It's got great blend, great quality, it's got great performance and versatility. It was that first fragrance I got from them, I think, based on Jeremy's opinion. So he said it was a fresh fabric softener with a raspberry touch. Yes, so I also like to call it the Yup Homme that's not annoying. Nice, beautiful, soft raspberry that's inoffensive, gets you a good amount of compliments, really good value for money. Their worst fragrance, however, I'm going to say is Legend, the original Eau de Toilette. Maybe it's because I smelled Percival before I smelled Legend. I sort of, first of all, just think they're trying to copy the Fierce DNA by Abercrombie & Fitch. They don't do it very well. It smells very cheap and tacky in my opinion. Maybe once you start smelling niche fragrances, your nose just gets adapted to it. I just cannot see it as a fragrance I would want to wear. Every time I put it on, I just do not like it. It's got okay performance. It's okay for the price, but I think it would only work on people who are new to the fragrance game. If your nose is naive to the higher quality stuff, it works. Otherwise, I always say save up for Parfums De Marly's Percival instead. It does the DNA 10 times better. In fairness, the Legend Eau de Parfum does improve on the DNA, adds a more musky apple effect to it, which makes it a bit more palatable, but again, forgettable. Go for Percival. Thank you for watching this video, guys. What did you think of today's Bane look? Make sure to check out our other videos as well, and make sure to check out Mmasi for him and for her in the description down below. We'll see you in the next one, guys. Bye.